Hi everybody, welcome to this video. We're going to have a look at places of articulation. Now, to describe a sound, you need to describe the place of articulation, the manner of articulation, and also the phonation. So that means whether the sound is voiced or unvoiced. In today's video, we're going to have a look at the place of articulation and specifically of consonant sounds in English. So let's start. Now, sounds are produced by two articulators coming together. For example, the tip of the tongue is touching the alveolar ridge when we say the sound D. So, tip of the tongue, D, is touching the little bump behind your teeth. We call it the alveolar ridge, and we produce the sound D. It's a plosive. If you want to know more about the manner of articulation, watch my other video. So, there are two articulators involved, the tip of the tongue and the alveolar ridge. And we call these active and passive articulators. So the tongue is moving, it's an active articulator, and it moves towards the passive articulator. And in our example, that is the alveolar ridge. If you want to find out more about the different articulators and passive and active articulators, you can find my other video on my channel. Now, the place of articulation is the location in the vocal tract where this coming together occurs. And we often say the articulators form a constriction of the airflow. It could be a full closure, it could be a small opening, or it could be a bit of a wider opening. Now, there are several places of articulation in English, and we're going to have a look at each one in detail. First of all, bilabial. Bilabial really means that both your lips are involved, and you can see those in the cross-section diagram on the screen. So the sound is produced with both lips together. For example, B, P, or M. For example, bed, pen, or make. B, P, M, all three are bilabial sounds. This is the place of articulation for those sounds. Next up, we have labiodental sounds. Now, labiodental, you can see already in the word, it means that the lips and dental, that's teeth, the teeth are involved. But if you have a look at the cross-section, it's not both lips or both sets of teeth. It's quite specifically the lower lip and the upper teeth. So the sound is produced with the bottom lip against the upper teeth. For example, F or V. And you can actually see my teeth when I form the sound V. So we have two example words, F in fun and V in very. Number 3, interdental, sometimes also just called dental. So here, both sets of teeth, upper and lower, are involved. Again, have a look at the diagram. You can see those highlighted in blue, and the tip of the tongue again. So here, the sounds are produced by placing the tip of the tongue between the teeth. So that means the upper and lower set of teeth. And we do this for the two TH sounds in English. First, we have the unvoiced TH sound. So you place the tongue in between. I retract it as well and add a little vowel to make it easier to hear, but is the sound. It's almost inaudible actually without another one. And then the voiced one is the. So we have two example words, think and the article. Next, we have alveolar. Now, sounds that are alveolar are produced in the alveolar ridge, and that is really the place of articulation. So the sounds produced are produced by raising the tip of the tongue again. We use the tip of the tongue a lot to form sounds, and it's raised to the alveolar ridge. And in fact, usually there is contact there. Not maybe always, but quite often. So we have quite a lot of sounds that are actually formed in this way. So we have t and d and n, and for all three, the tip of the tongue touches the alveolar ridge. And then we have s and z. Now here there is a little small opening, so it's not complete closure, but it is, the small opening is at the alveolar ridge. And then we also have l, again, there is contact. And I know this looks like a r, but it's not. It's the tap or the flap T, a tap sound. It's the th. And let's have a look at some example words. It'll be easier to hear the sound. So we had t in to, d in day, n in no, s in see, z in zoo, and then l in like. And the last one, the flap T, this little tap sound, as in butter, as pronounced by an American. Or, for example, a lot of. So here, lot, the t becomes a flap T, a lot of. It's just this little tap. And that again happens on the alveolar ridge. The tip of the tongue just taps against it. Now, remember, this is true for all of the sounds. You might think, okay, but they're all so different. How can they all have the same place of articulation? Yes, but these sounds do not have the same manner of articulation, okay? So they share the same place, but most of them have a different manner of articulation. And even if they have the same manner of articulation, like t and d, both plosives, they might differ in phonation. So yes, t unvoiced, d voiced. So there are other parameters that you have to remember. It's not just the place. And that is true not just for those alveolar sounds, but for all of the sounds. So let's have a look at the next place that's just behind the alveolar ridge. It's the post-alveolar sounds. And so it's literally just, you just move a little bit further back behind this little bump. I've shown it in the cross section, and we do have quite a number of sounds that are like produced here, and they are produced by raising the tongue. And this is a little bit more like the middle part maybe of the tongue or the tip, and you raise it just behind the alveolar ridge. So we have, for example, r, sh, j, and ch and j. So it's very close to the alveolar ridge, but a little bit further back. And again, I've given you some example words. So we have red, shoe, vision, chair, and June. And so just slightly back. Now, there is also another place that you will see mentioned sometimes, and that's called retroflex. It's also very similar in place, like it's in a similar place to post-alveolar, but retroflex means that the sound is produced with the tip of the tongue curved back just behind the alveolar ridge, so post-alveolar really. But the specific thing is the tongue is curved backwards, and I've put a little arrow here to show that the tongue would move backwards. And that's when we pronounce the American R. And so instead of just saying rain like a Brit would do, or R, Americans would probably say rain, R, and R. And just the R sound, yeah, definitely, I can feel it. My tongue is curved back. So rain and R. R. Okay. Number 7, we have palatal. Again, this is a place to describe sounds. It's your palate really in your mouth, and you can see it in green in the cross section. So those sounds are produced by raising the middle part of the tongue. Again, I showed this in yellow, to the hard palate. So the hard palate is the bit in the middle, really, the roof top of your mouth, you could say. And there's only one sound that is produced here, and that is y. Y. So just say it and see where the middle bit of your tongue is lifted to. Y, y, yeah, that's your hard palate. And so y we have a lot of times in English, usually when we have the spelling y, for example, you or yes, many other words as well. Next one, we have velar. Now those sounds are produced by raising the back of the tongue. So we're not the tip, not the middle bit, but the back of the tongue to the soft palate. That's even further back from the hard palate and the velum. And the velum is the little thing that is hanging freely. If you open your mouth really wide in front of a mirror and you say ah, you can usually see it hanging from the roof of your mouth, and that's the velum. And so we raise the back of the tongue towards the soft palate and velum part, really at the back of our mouth. And so we have quite a few sounds here. We've got k, k. And again, say it and just pay attention to the tongue movement. K and g. Personally, I find this is the most obvious one, g. You can really feel the closure, and it's happening right here at the back where the back of the tongue touches the soft palate and velum. G. And then also this nasal sound. It's really formed at the back. It is not like which was formed in against the alveolar ridge, the which is really spelling ng or nk in English, is formed right at the back, totally different place of articulation. Okay, so we've got words like k, cook, g, go, and sing. Here the ng spelling, as in sing. So very common sound because we have a lot of ing endings in English. Now, last but not least, we have glottal sounds. So here, the place of articulation all the way down in your throat really is the glottis, all right? Now, how are these produced? So the sounds are produced by using the glottis, and the glottis is not so much an articulator, but a space. It is the space between your vocal cords. And we have two sounds that are produced here. First of all, the fricative, and here the little restriction is right here on your vocal cords. They don't vibrate, they just close a little bit to make it a bit smaller. And so we form, if we just breathe in and out, you can hear it a little bit, but it's a bit smaller, therefore a bit louder, becomes a sound. And then we also have the glottal stop, that funny symbol, looks like a question mark, the wrong way around. And that we have in between the words uh-oh. And here really the glottis, just like the vocal cords close and open, and this is audible. It's called a glottal stop. If this is a bit strange, really do watch my other video on the glottal stop and you'll find out more. Now, you might have noticed that as we went through the different places of articulation, and I give you the different sounds as examples, the w was absent. So you might think, okay, what about w? It wasn't mentioned at all. Where is it formed? Now, the place of articulation for w is labialized velar. And so what does that mean? So that means it's actually produced in two places. Labialized, that means at the lips, But velar, we know, is at the velum or soft palate in the back of the mouth. And so the sound is produced with both lips rounded, not closed. W. Have a look. My lips are rounded. W. But also now pay attention to the position of your tongue. W. W. It also involves the back of the tongue because it moves towards the soft palate. There's no closure like an or g, but it's just moving towards it. W. And so both of those things are involved. So we really have two different places of articulation for the sound w, as in where. Now, knowing about the different places of articulation and the tongue movement can really help you produce the sounds accurately and clearly. Of course, for that is also important to consider the manner of articulation and whether the sound is voiced or unvoiced. So let's have a look at a table where you can see all of that in one place. Now, here you can see the place and manner of articulation of all of the consonant sounds that we have in English. On the left-hand side, you see the manner of articulation, plosives, fricatives, affricates, etc. If you don't know what they are, please do watch my other video on the manner of articulation. And then you have the places of articulation that we just looked at written along the top, bilabial all the way down to glottal. And all of the consonants are now in this table, so you can determine the manner and place for each sound. So if we have, for example, a look at the L, we can see it's a lateral and it's alveolar. Now you also see that the sounds are either red or green. Green means that this is an unvoiced sound and the vocal cords are not involved in the production. They stay open and don't vibrate. And then the red sounds are voiced, so the vocal cords vibrate, and those sounds are also quite a bit louder as a result. To find out more about English pronunciation and phonology, have a look at my channel. You can find many more videos and playlists on the different topics. And if you have any questions, leave me a comment below.